Whoa, what's going on, everybody? Hope everybody's doing all right. I am slowly battling myself back here in kind of the mire that has been 2025. Just hasn't been fun for me. I can tell you that. It hasn't been a fun start to the year. Uh, Lots of personal stuff, lots of health issues. So I'm hitting all the marks. And I got to be honest with you. I've had a super lot of depression lately, like really fucking bad. And just trying to work my way through that. Um, I haven't felt creative. I haven't felt like I want to continue this channel. Um, just a lot of things that I just kind of want to drop and walk away from right now. And I don't know. I don't know what keeps me going. I really don't know what keeps me going. I at this point. Um, but I know that I'm gonna have to make some hard decisions in May when my lease is up at the studio. If I'm going to continue to go there or come back here to my house. I'm just not really feeling it right now. Not really feeling it, and I think just being, fuck, man. It's like almost 30 days into the year and just I haven't had a break. I feel like the chips haven't fallen in my favor anywhere. So it's been tough. It's been a really rough start to the year. But I'm trying to stay positive. I'm trying to keep busy. I don't like downtime. Um, I still can't shake what I have. I've been sick for almost a better part of almost 2 weeks. Um, and I can't get my voice back. I still have a lingering sore throat. I still have bronchitis. I've literally gone through all of my penicillin, and you can't really stay on that stuff forever. I can't get better. I literally can't get better, and it's very frustrating, and it's very limiting. And ah, boy, I'm just not having a good time right now. So, anyway, I'm glad that there's some people in the room today. I see a lot of Ghost Squad members here, and I see um, a long time subscribers here. I just get all this out of the way. Let's just answer all the health questions because I've had a million health questions. No, it's not COVID. No, it's not influenza. It's just turned out to be a really nasty sinus infection with this bronchitis. And a lot of people have reached out to me and said that they've been through kind of the same similar thing. It just is what it is. I don't know. I mean, my health, I feel stronger every day. But I took a really bad beating in my immune system. To start the year, I had two teeth that I had to do an emergency root canal on. So I never really recovered from that. And then right after that, I got that goddamn stomach flu that was going around. So I had that and I was in bed with that for 3 or 4 days. And then ultimately, right after that, this is what started. So my immune system really hasn't recovered from anything, over the last 30 days. It's just been like this. And it's been super frustrating. It has not been fun. And I get it. I take vitamins. I work out. I take D. I get it. I've done all the over the counter stuff, and I'm just trying to get myself better here. And that's the most important thing. Unfortunately, I have to return to my day job tomorrow because I've been out of work for like 2 weeks, and I'm pissed because I literally have exhausted all of my sick time already for the year. It's exhausted. So it's been very, very frustrating, and I'm just looking for something to kind of fall my way here. So we'll just have to see how it goes. Anyway, a couple things I want to get out of the way. I just want to get a message out there to someone. If you stumble across my show or you are watching my show, I need you to be an adult. I need you to get my stuff back. I've asked for it multiple times in a very kind way. You even offered to send it to me. I still have not received it. So I need to get my stuff back. You need to be an adult. You need to answer me and figure out the solution to this equation. So let's just be an adult. Let's get my stuff back to me. I'm not going to go into this personal relationship. This person said, "Oh, what are you going to record it and play it back for your audience?" No, I don't do that. And two, I learned my lesson with that many, many months ago when I talked about a relationship on the air, about someone that I love and care about, and that got me nowhere. So I learned my lesson in that. So I'm not going to continue to talk about it, but I'd like to get my stuff back. So let's be an adult. Let's step up. We can meet at a germane place somewhere, and you can just literally hand me my stuff and go on your way, or you need to send it to me because I'm getting tired of being ignored, of you not answering my inquiries. And I've been nothing but a gentleman to you. I've been nothing but nice through this whole process. Let's just get my stuff back. Okay. All right. Anyway, let's move on. So yesterday there was an amazing thing that happened. I want to give Tom CPU a huge shout out for organizing this amongst with his people. And there was a standout for John O'Keefe. And obviously today marks 3 years of John O'Keefe's passing at the hands of the people at 34 Fairview. So what I want to do is just play this little snippet that came up today from, I think it was NBC 10. And a lot of those people out there, which was phenomenal. They did such a great job. It's a beautiful ceremony. I kept checking in here and there and just seeing how things were. So let's just play this little snippet. NBC.
Marks 3 years since Boston police officer John O'Keefe was killed. His body discovered outside of a home of another Boston police officer in Canton. His family, however, is still waiting for justice. By now, you likely know that his girlfriend, Karen Reed, is accused of hitting and killing him with her SUV. This trial for her second trial now, is about 2 months away.
But today, people in Canton are remembering the officer whose life was cut short. Our Manash Kwingwari is in Canton with more.
It's been 3 years too long.
Some people say he got lost in this story. We want to remind people that we haven't lost sight of who the victim is here.
It's true. John O'Keefe has never been lost in any of this. And I know the other side continuously likes to say that. They continue like to rant about that and say, oh yeah, this is what's all forgotten in all this. No, it's really not. It's really not. It really hasn't.
Lasting freezing temperatures, the snow, and time.
This is my first ever 24-hour.
These community members camped outside the Canton Police Department Tuesday into Wednesday to honor John O'Keefe after spending all Tuesday rallying in front of it, only to wake up and do it all again.
It's time for Boston police officer John O'Keefe to get the notice that he deserves.
These familiar faces you've likely seen on the corner of Providence Highway and Dedham, in downtown Boston, or at Norfolk Superior Court supporting Karen Reed, the one accused of killing O'Keefe. Police say the two spent a night out drinking at two separate bars in Canton before she attempted to drop him off at a Canton home back in 2021. During that drop-off, police say she backed her SUV into him, leaving him to die on the front lawn. Now, it should be noted, O'Keefe's friends and family not here by choice, with some even calling this demonstration distasteful. And it's because they are raising money for Karen Reed's defense. Some of John O'Keefe's loved ones believe that is not what this should be about.
Why are you viewing it in that aspect? If he's your friend, you should be happy that people are trying to get justice for your friend.
I don't need to know somebody to know when something isn't right, and it's time to take a stand.
Reporting in Canton, Manash Kwingwari, NBC 10 Boston.
All right, Manash.
So phenomenal job. Such a great job. Tom was out there, I believe, for the whole 24-hour live stream. So kudos to him. Hats off to everybody that made it out there. I wish I could have made an appearance, but obviously I'm still kind of nursing myself back here to health. Christy, thank you so much for the $10. Says prayers for healing and health. I appreciate that. I'm just, I'm trying to get back to normal here. It's just been a real fucking struggle. It really has. It's been very frustrating and a major struggle here. All right. So what I wanted to do tonight or today, this afternoon, is there was a court TV segment with Vinnie Politan. Obviously, Nick Rocco was on there, and you had Plevin from Yellow Cottage Tales. And I can't even believe it's made me absolutely laugh that Plevin thinks that the phone call that Brian Higgins had at 1:34 a.m. was basically it's nobody's business who he was speaking to at the Canton PD at 1:34 a.m. And he basically said that who knows, maybe he was ordering a pizza. And no, he probably was talking to someone at 34 Fairview, most likely Jennifer McCabe or Brian Albert. And it's very suspicious, and it's highly suspicious. And I hope that the Karen Reed's defense team goes after Brian Higgins's phone logs. But remember, we can't do that because remember what he did. But things are saved to the cloud. That's correct. Things are saved to the cloud. But what did he do after that night? Remember, him and Brian Albert. What did they do? Smashed their phones, smashed the evidence. Brian Higgins drove down to a federal base and dropped his phone inside the trash so it could not be found. And to me, if you're not involved in this or have anything to do with Officer John O'Keefe's death, then why would you need to do that? Why would you need to destroy your phone and destroy evidence from you from being there that night? Obviously, there's something that you're hiding. I want to go back to, and I don't want to pick on Brady that much, but you go back to Tom Brady with the whole, what was it, Deflategate, when they asked him for his phone. What did he do? He smashed it. I'm not going to give you my phone. I'm not going to let you know who I'm talking to. So again, you have something to hide. You're not smashing your phone. You're handing it over. You're giving the full extraction instead of you going to a facility, extracting whatever information you want to give police at that point. So I guess you're getting my overall point in all of this. But let's pull up this Court TV segment. I was kind of excited to go through this. It's almost laughable. And always Nick Rocco kills it during these things. So let's spend some time. We'll watch through this. I'm going to try to conserve my voice as best as I can. And we'll see how this all turns out.
I'm Vinnie Politan. The subject of my investigation is the retrial of Karen Reed, a woman accused of murdering her police officer boyfriend, John O'Keefe, but someone who has thousands of supporters who believe she is innocent.
Yeah, and I want to go, like, if you're innocent of things, then why are you trying to get rid of evidence? Why are you not just handing your full phone over and saying, here, extract my whole phone. I have nothing to hide. This will give you my full activity for that night. Instead, we break out the SIM card, we smash the phones, we throw them in the garbage. Yeah, nothing to hide, nothing to see here, right?
Innocent. Here's the story. A blizzard was heading towards the greater Boston area, but before the storm, Boston police officer John O'Keefe met his girlfriend, college professor Karen Reed, at a local bar in downtown Canton. At the end of the night, they were invited to an after party at another officer's home. Karen drove to that house, but she never got out of the car. John did. The next morning, John O'Keefe was found dead on the front lawn of that home. The question is, how did he die? Prosecutors say Karen Reed intentionally.
All right, let me just address this. So Cause Farms asking, what's with young jerks and the glare crap? Well, how about you do this? Okay, this is super, super simple. Okay, because I tend not to get involved in any of this stuff, but this is really simple for you all to follow, for the people that want to know about it. I would get on X, follow either one of them, and just reach out to them personally if you want to know. Or how about this? Create a tweet and tweet at them and say, hey, can you explain everything that's going on between you two? Okay. I don't get in the middle of it. I don't care. I think it's unnecessary drama. There's a lot of unnecessary drama going on, and I don't give a fuck about it. I don't need to get in the mix of that stuff to bring controversy and drama on my channel. I stick straight to things that I want to talk about, the facts. I don't get involved in the interpersonal stuff that goes on unless it affects me. okay, unless it comes at me. So personally, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about who's fighting, who hates each other. I think in the long run, it does nothing positive for your channel. If two adults want to have a fight in a conversation, either behind closed doors or have it on a platform, so be it. But don't come to my platform and ask me to explain or ask my audience to explain what's going on between two grown adults. If you want to know, then reach out to them. Ask them what's going on. What's going on? I don't care. I don't give a shit. I don't care unless it involves me or something comes at me, and then I will address it. Okay? Because most of the time, if I have an issue with someone, it's addressed behind closed doors. And I don't have any issues with anybody. So I stay out of it. And I support the people that I support on this platform or going on their shows because I respect them. I respect them. So I don't really care. I don't want to get involved in it. It's not my problem. That's a problem between those two grown adults, and they can handle it. And if they want to keep it on a public platform and go back and forth at each other, so be it. Has nothing to do with me. Has nothing to do with me. So that's what I would say. If you want to get involved, go on X, follow either one of them, and then you can DM them and ask them, or just do a public tweet and ask them to explain. So that's kind of how I feel about it. The people that I buddy up with and do shows with are people that I respect. And I'll leave it at that. So anyway, let's get back to Court TV, Vinnie Politan. I'm very excited to see the segments with Nick Rocco and Plevin. Here we go.
Struck him with her car and murdered him. The defense says John went inside the home and something happened. He was killed and placed onto the front yard by people at that after party. In the spring of 20.
Here's the thing. I know you're all involved. Like, that's the thing. You all know what's going on. I mean, you're all in all the chats on all these shows. You're just trying to drag me into it. And I don't care. My focus right now is getting myself better and focus on what I have to do here on my channel. If you don't like it, then you don't have to watch. I might not be your cup of tea, but I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that all these chats flow all day long. I think people are pretty in tune to what is going on. Personally, I don't care. I really don't care. So anyway, we're going to get back to this segment.
2024, the jury could not come to a unanimous verdict, and now Karen Reed will be tried again. But before the trial, both sides are battling it out inside the courtroom.
We're getting some new information that's been revealed in some court filings in this case as both sides amp up to get ready for this big retrial that, of course, you'll see on Court TV.
I like Mike. Mike and I have built a really good relationship over the last couple of months here. We've got a good respect for each other. I think we understand each other a little bit better. And I'm the type of person that if you reach out to me and you want to have a conversation, I will give you that conversation and we can talk like adults and figure it out. And I've had a huge, great time partnering with Mike and Maza. And that's just people that I've felt common interest in. So I like doing shows with them. We were just on Maza's show last night. I've done a couple shows on Mike's channel, and we'll be doing something again soon. But as far as all the conversation, the drama, just reach out to those people if you want to know. Ask them, hey, what's going on? I mean, it's been pretty public, so I don't think I need to explain what's going on. And I don't know, maybe if Mike wants to take the time to explain it, he can. But anyway, all right, let's keep going on here. I look blue today.
and part of it involves Brian Higgins, an ATF special agent. He testified in the first case, but we're learning a little bit more information. Brian Higgins is someone who Karen Reed shared a kiss with at a time when she was dating John O'Keefe. Brian Higgins is someone who knows everyone, who was at the after party, and was also the subject of someone that the defense was pointing the finger at being part of what they say really happened to John O'Keefe that night. Let's take a look at some of his testimony from the trial.
Now you leave the residence at 34.
Well, remember, he always tells the truth. Remember? I always tell the truth.
Fairview, and where did you go from there?
I went back to the Canton police.
And why was it that you went back to the Canton police station?
Well, we had tried.
His statement from Mike. He says, "You're right, man. I did explain it, and I'm done with that. It was on our Twitter. Everybody saw it. I'm booking shows and watching LTL." So it looks like Mike wants to move on, and I respect that. So that's it. That's it. All right, here we go. Higgins,
Traveled down for the services for those police officers, and we anticipated staying the following day. I think I had said that we left the day earlier. So I had left a key to the surveillance vehicle on top of my desk so that somebody could move the vehicle, because a lot of times Chief Berkowitz would get after me. As a courtesy, I was parking vehicles there, sometimes my personal, but primarily my work vehicles. And one thing he asked me, just leave the vehicles in the middle of the parking lot so that snow could be cleared. So the reason for heading back there was to move those vehicles, because if I didn't do it then, I would have had to get up early and do it. And I also know they plow through the night, so that would be the reason for heading back.
You had an initial interview with Massachusetts State Police on February 3rd, 2022.
Yes.
Correct? And you indicated during the course of that interview, which was just a couple of days, 5 days after the events in question, that you left Brian Albert's house, went to Canton PD to, quote, fulfill some administrative obligations, end quote, correct? You later said, when you testified in front of the grand jury on April 28th, that you went to Canton PD to do, quote, administrative work, correct?
Yes.
You've never mentioned.
I said administrative things.
You said administrative work was your testimony in your transcript.
I believe it was things, but okay.
Okay. Can we agree, Mr. Higgins, that you didn't mention anything about moving cars around, correct?
Well, that would be administrative.
Mr. Higgins, you weren't actually at Canton PD to do administrative work at 1:30 in the morning, were you?
I was moving the vehicles. I'm sure it's on video.
All right, you heard that last part. I'm sure it's on video. So again,
and it was on video, because then we found out at 1:34 a.m. just recently that Higgins was talking to someone on his phone. Gee, I wonder who could that be? Brian Albert, Jennifer McCabe. Who do you think it is? Let me know in the chat. Who do you think Higgy was talking to at 1:34 a.m.? Wasn't the fucking pizza man, like you're going to hear from Plevin here in a couple minutes. But who do you think? Let me know in the chat. Jen McCabe, Brian Albert, could it have been someone else? Who do you think? Drop the name in the chat.
the defense is insinuating that he went back for some other reason to go back to the Canton Police Department. He's an ATF agent, but he works out of the local police department, so he knows all the local cops. So take a look at this. This is from a defense filing. Post-trial on October 10th, 2024, the Commonwealth again provided new surveillance footage. So new videos being given to the defense. This is after the trial in October. The footage shows Brian Higgins arrive in the parking lot of the Canton Police Department at 1:26 a.m., enter the police department, and speak to some unidentified individual or individuals on the phone as he is leaving the Canton Police Department between 1:34:52 seconds and 1:34:56 seconds. So what's going on here? He said he went there to move the cars. He said there's video, you'll see it. So I guess they got the video. But on the video, he's on the phone. He's on the phone at 1:34, which brings us to the first question in our investigation.
Yeah, good question. Yeah.
Who was Brian Higgins talking to at 1:34 a.m.? Fair question. It's a fair question. He was at the after party. He knows John O'Keefe. He knows Karen Reed. He was a witness in the case. Nothing was mentioned about a phone call during the trial, though. I don't think. I don't recall it.
No.
Let's help figure this out with our trial insiders. Joining me, Karen Reed, supporter and creator of the Justice for Officer John O'Keefe and Karen Reed Facebook page, Nick Rocco, and the creator behind the Yellow Cottage Tales
Nick call him Plevin again.
YouTube channel, Kevin Lenahan. Thank you both for being here. All right,
Yeah,
Nick, do you have any idea
I think he is.
who Brian Higgins was talking to at 1:34 in the morning at the Canton PD?
If I had to take a guess who he was on the phone with, it would be one of three people, either Brian Albert, Chief Berkowitz, or Kevin Albert. And the reason why I would say that is because in his testimony, he stated that he left 34 Fairview around 1 in the morning. Now, we know he arrived at 1:26, and it does not take 26 minutes, even in the snow, to get from 34 Fairview to the Canton Police Department. So that would only insinuate he left 34 Fairview a little later than 1 in the morning. So he gets there, say he grabs the key. Now he's leaving the Canton Police Department, and he's on the cell phone. So that's at 1:34. And in his testimony, he said he arrived home in Brockton at 1:40 in the morning, right? So we know he's there at 1:34, and most likely at that point, that's when if he did move vehicles, that would have been when he moved the vehicles. Say it takes 5 or 10 minutes to move the vehicles. He's not getting home until after 2 in the morning. So he just left the Alberts home. My only guess would be that he's on the phone with one of those people inside the house.
Yeah.
Nick, do we know where the camera is there?
It's like, it's like my shirt. I just want my shirt back. It's an expensive shirt. Just stop. Let's be an adult. Let's get my shirt back. It's literally, you can meet for 3 minutes. I'll drive there, 3 minutes. Just hand it to me. Don't even have to say anything. Just want to get my shirt back. That's it. My shirt and a few personal items that might still be there. It's easy. Very, very easy. But I get you. I know what you're saying. Note to self, never leave stuff anywhere. Trust me, I learned the hard way. Right. I agree. All right, let's keep playing here.
That would get this surveillance video?
It's most likely in the outside showing, probably the parking lot there.
All right. Kevin, what are your thoughts here?
Thank you so much for the $10 on, I think it's Cash App. I appreciate that. Thank you. It helps keeps the lights on in the studio. All right, let's keep playing.
Now
here.
learning that Brian Higgins goes back to the Canton PD. We know the testimony at the trial. He says he's moving the cars because the storm is coming in. Everyone's preparing for the storm. But he's on the phone at 1:34 a.m. Who could he be talking to?
He's going to say the fucking
Also, one thing that we do know with something close to certainty is that he was not talking to any of the witnesses or any of the people that Nick just mentioned. And the reason we know that is because the feds got the phone records of all of these people, all right? And then the feds questioned Brian Higgins in their federal grand jury. And both sides had the transcripts from this federal grand jury, including Karen's defense team. And Karen's defense team did not ask Brian Higgins, who did you talk to at that call? Which means the feds did not ask that question. So the feds know who Brian Higgins called, and it was nothing of interest to them, so that's why they didn't ask him. So certainly if Brian Higgins at that time had called somebody inside the house, then the U.S. attorney would have asked him about that, and it would have been in the transcript. And he didn't, so it's not. So the question never came up. So I'm going to guess that he was calling in a pizza, calling to check his voicemail.
Calling in a pizza. You've got to be kidding me. I can't even believe that you would say that and embarrass yourself and say that. Calling it a pizza. I got to go back and hear that again.
Who did you talk to at that call? Which means the feds did not ask that question. So the feds know who Brian Higgins called, and it was nothing of interest to them, so that's why they didn't ask him. So certainly if Brian Higgins at that time had called somebody inside the house, then the U.S. attorney would have asked him about that, and it would have been in the transcript. And he didn't, so it's not. So the question never came up. So I'm going to guess that he was calling in a pizza, calling to check his voicemail, calling something private. It's a private thing. It has nothing. If it has no bearing on the case, it's really none of our business who he's calling.
Oh, wait a minute. You were just at a house where an officer was killed. You've left that house. Okay. And then you go to the Canton Police Department to say that you're moving vehicles around because of a snowstorm. And then you pick up and make a phone call at 1:34 a.m. where you just left a house where someone was murdered. And now you're going to say that phone call has no bearing in the situation, you got to be fucking kidding me. It's a big red flag, dude.
Are you troubled at all, Kevin, that it didn't come up in his testimony? That, oh, yeah, I went back, I moved the cars, I did this, I did that, then I called so-and-so. Like, that didn't seem to come out.
Why would it? I mean, if he's calling in a pizza before he goes home, or he's calling to check his voicemails, why?
You're not. First of all, you're not getting a pizza at 1:34 in a blizzard, are you?
Right.
I used to. Back in my drinking days.
Okay. I just don't know who would be open at that point to get a pizza at 1:34. So
we know D&E wasn't.
Right. Exactly. All right. So, Nick, why is this important? Do you think this is important?
Well, first off, they're giving new video evidence, or they want to call it new because the defense has not seen this yet, months after the trial ended. Now, the Commonwealth has had all this video in their possession for over 2.5 years. Yeah. And then all of a sudden they decide, oh, we're going to give you this piece of information now, when that would have been important for the defense to question Brian Higgins during his questioning in the trial. Who did you call at this time? Who were you on the phone with? He could have cleared that up. But instead, the Commonwealth wants to say everything is deleted now, but yet they've been providing new video footage in the middle of the trial, at the end of the trial, in the beginning of the trial. So something smells here, because they were saying that within 30 days, everything gets overwritten. But that means someone...
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about that. So Matthew Erickson, if you saw in just the previous motion, just before this last one that came out, and I'll read this from the motion. It says, in the motion, Karen Reed's expert, Matthew Erickson, visited the Canton Police Department to perform an independent analysis of the CPD's Extract Vision DVR system and review any video footage from January 29, 2022, between 12 a.m. and 1:59 p.m. So that whole day. Unfortunately, his efforts were in the vain, as it appears the Canton Police Department did not preserve the original video evidence. Gee, I wonder why that would be. When Mr. Erickson arrived to extract the footage from the DVR system, he found that the security cameras were set to overwrite older footage with new footage after 30 days. It's worth noting that there are 3 instances in which the Commonwealth provided CPD footage to the defense, and they were all beyond the 30-day window. So keep that into account. Keep that into an account. All right.
Someone saved this footage within that 30-day period, and it's been in the possession of the Commonwealth, and they've been kind of keeping it away from the defense. So I don't know why they decided to give it over now, but it clearly shows, he's on the phone with somebody, and ultimately the feds only handed over certain information. The defense doesn't have his full cell phone records because Judge Beverly Cannoni denied that in the first trial. So we don't necessarily know who he called. And I'm sure if they file another motion to get his phones, I would hope Judge Bev gives it to them.
All right. Nick Rocco, Kevin Lanahan are going to stick around. Coming up next, should the defense, as Nick says, get all of Brian Higgins' phone records?
Yes, they should. I'm going to pause here really quick. Got about 600 people in the room. Do me a favor. Just smash that like button. Love to get to at least 500 likes by the time this live ends. I really appreciate everybody being here this afternoon. Just making me really feel great and bringing up my spirits. And it's really nice to be here and spend this time with you all, because it's been a while. It truly has been a while. So I appreciate that. All right, let's keep going on to the next segment here in this Court TV segment.
Then you drove to a military base and you threw both the destroyed SIM card and the phone into a dumpster, did you not?
Well, I was cutting through the basin.
He always
Grieving widow or mastermind behind a murder. Monica Cimentilli is accused of plotting to kill her husband.
Only on Court TV.
With Jack Pocket.
Here we go.
Did you take the SIM card out of your phone, yes or no?
I don't know.
Did you testify that that's what you do when you get rid of phones, sir?
What I said was that might have been the extent of it if I was to have done that.
And you either cut up the SIM card or ripped it up, correct?
I believe what I testified to was
I would have. I'm not asking you what you testified to. I'm asking you today, did you either cut up the SIM card or rip it up?
Cut it up or broke it.
And you'll agree with me that you took that destroyed SIM card and put it in a trash bag, did you not?
I believe it went in a trash bag, yes.
Then you drove to a military base and you threw both the destroyed SIM card and the phone into a dumpster, did you not?
Well, I was cutting through the base, and I believe how I testified was...
to a military base, sir?
I was cutting through a base, yes.
Did you drive to it?
Yes, sir.
And then you put both the destroyed SIM card and the phone itself, which were in a trash bag, into a dumpster on that military base, did you not?
I believe that's what I did, yes.
I believe that's what I did.
Okay. When that happened during the trial, we heard all this testimony about
I think it's just crazy that a jury would sit through that and hear all of that. And all the numerous things here that either got deleted or erased from fucking people that were inside that house that night. The compounding amount of things that were lied about, hidden, destroyed. I don't know. How did a jury not fucking see what was actually going on in that house that night? I don't see how this jury couldn't have seen that. I would have picked up on that right away and been like, wait a minute. This guy took his phone and destroyed it? Destroyed his SIM card and threw it away on a military base? I mean, to me, that is a huge red flag. And we just found out today, Richard Green, the extraction, Jennifer McCabe's phone. Over 5,000 text messages or searches, 5,000 searches. And the one that is flagged for deletion is a 227 Hoslong to Dying Cold. I mean, what? How does a jury not start to put all this together and say, wait a minute, we got to look at this a little bit differently here. Maybe we just need to start looking at the people that are inside the house that night. Because we already know factually and scientifically, there's no way that Karen Reed hit John O'Keefe with her SUV, and there's no way that John O'Keefe came in contact with Karen Reed's SUV. Let me just get to this really quick. Wow, Nancy S., thank you so much. $150. Wow, I appreciate that. Said, Brian, buy a new shirt and the hell with her. Feel better. Thank you so much. That was very sweet and very funny as well, too. Thank you. I appreciate that. That was a really sweet super chat. Thank you. All right, let's keep playing on here.
What Brian Higgins did with his phone, and you have to look at it and say, why would you do that? It just seems suspicious that you're like destroying your phone and ripping up the SIM card and driving somewhere to get rid of it.
That's true.
And now the issue of Brian Higgins and phone calls again is at the forefront of the Karen Reed case as we get ready for the retrial. Take a listen. This again is testimony from the trial. Brian Higgins talking about the famous butt dials that occurred that night.
So you testified that the first call you received after returning home on the 29th was a call from Chief Berkowitz just before 7 a.m., which woke you up. Is that right?
It was around 6:30-ish, I think.
Okay. Your testimony previously was at some point before 7 a.m., that call was the one that woke you up.
Yes.
And it turns out, Mr. Higgins, that...
Here's a fun fact. I sleep with my phone every single night next to me or down to my side because I'll usually play like a podcast and just fall asleep to it, or I'll put a video on and fall asleep to it. I have never, ever, 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 ever butt dialed anyone in the middle of the night. And I've rolled over on my phone 1,000 times. It's never happened. It's never happened.
That was a lie, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't a lie.
Be right back.
When you were asked that question at a previous hearing, you didn't know that the person questioning you had your phone records, did you?
I assume they did.
And you were thereafter confronted with those phone records, correct?
I was asked about them, yes.
And those phone records established that you and Brian Albert actually exchanged not one, but 2 phone calls at 2:22 a.m. that morning at a time when you claimed you were in bed asleep, correct?
I have no recollection of any phone calls.
And it indicates that on January 29th, 2022, at 2:22 and 35 seconds, you received a call from Brian Albert, duration of 1 second, correct?
Yes.
In other words, Brian Albert called you at 2:22 and 35 seconds, but it looks like you missed the call, correct?
I see the 1 second call, yes.
There's a second call just below that. On the same date at 2:22 and 52 seconds from you to Brian Albert. Do you see that one?
Yes.
And the duration of that call is 22 seconds, correct?
I see.
This is why I think, and I go on the assumption that that 134 call, I feel is very strong to Brian. I think it was to Brian Albert because they had the most connection between them two that night. I strongly feel at 134 he called Brian Albert because they had a lot of conversation through this whole process. And you got to remember, where did they take the ride to back and forth? New York City. So they talked a lot about a lot of things in that day. Forrest Dump, thank you, $20. Says Higgy is full of stinky, steamy, smelly. Ate 2 California burritos. Pile of coming out your butt dial shit. Welcome back, BLT. I love that. Thank you so much. Trying to get better here. But you can't lay in bed forever. You got to start getting the body moving and things like that. So I'll be heading back to my full-time job tomorrow, unfortunately. But it needs to get done. I need to start making some bread because I've been out for quite a while. All right. Thank you. That was very nice. Here we go.
See that? Yes.
So 17 seconds after you missed a call, according to these records, from Brian Albert, you called him back, and there was a call lasting 22 seconds. Is that right?
Right.
That's what the records say.
That's what the records say, but he says he has no recollection of it. And during the course of the trial, it played out that this was like the double butt dial back and forth at 2:22 in the morning, the night that John O'Keefe died. Now we're talking about another call that was made before that at 1:34. And we don't know who he was calling or got called by at 1:34 in the morning, which brings us to the next question in our investigation. Should the defense get all of Brian Higgins' phone records for once and for all? I'm
going to ask you that question. Should the defense get all Brian Higgins' phone records? Let me know in the chat. A Y or an N? Go. We'll wait here. We'll see what the consensus is before we move on. What is your thoughts? Should the defense get all of Brian Higgins' phone records? Let me know. Y for yes, N for no. Lots of yeses. I love it. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. All right, here we go.
Put it to sleep. The defense tried to get it in the first trial. They didn't get him. But now there's evidence of him on the phone at 1:34 that didn't come up in testimony. So should they get it? Joining me, great attorneys, Massachusetts criminal defense attorney Joseph Krowski Jr. and trial attorney who served as special counsel to Johnny Depp in his defamation case, Wayne Dennison, is with us. Great to have you both here. Joseph, your thoughts. Should the defense get all of Higgins' records now?
So it's interesting. This new laser focus on Higgins is kind of coinciding with what's going on in the trial. As you know, there's a hearing Friday related to the search that Jennifer McCabe purportedly made at 2:27 a.m. That search essentially has been invalidated, and that was the linchpin of the conspiracy theory. That kind of coincides with Karen Reed herself, who's a very active participant in her own defense, saying they were going to retool the defense for the second trial. She said that publicly approximately.
And why wouldn't you be active in your case? If I was Karen Reed and I was facing all these frivolous charges, I would be very much active in my own case, essentially trying to save her life. So yeah, I'd be very active in my case as well too.
A month ago coming out of court, and it seems to be the retooling is now to focus on Brian Higgins. Look, they only get it if they can make a showing that it's relevant. The mere fact that someone makes a phone call or uses their phone is not necessarily relevant as applied to the Rule 17 standards in Massachusetts. One thing that you need to point out, though, or I need to point out, is Brian Higgins bought a new phone. He was alerted there was a preservation order for his old phone. He did not dispose of his phone while that preservation order was pending. He maintained the phone until he was notified that the court had officially denied the motion for access to an extraction.
So let's just even say that on that argument, okay? Let's just even say that Brian Higgins and Brian Albert waited for that order from the court. Essentially, you could do whatever you want with your phone. Let's just say, let's go on that assumption, even though it was not that, but let's just go on that assumption. Why would he feel the need to still destroy his phone? Why would he still feel the need, him and Brian Albert feel the need to destroy their phones? It makes no sense. If I have nothing to do with something and I'm at a fucking house where an officer dies and I want to completely clear my name of anything, I would literally hand my phone over to the police department and say, have at it. Take any information that you want. Clear my name. I have nothing to do with this.
Of his phone. The only information we have is he destroyed a SIM card. As you know, SIM cards nowadays don't really store any data. It's basically confidential subscriber information. It's not Google searches. It's not photographs. It's not text messages. Another thing that's important is he brought it to law enforcement's attention that he had texted with Karen Reed prior to them having any knowledge of it. So he was proactive in turning that over. But just like you didn't get William Reed's phone and Karen Reed's mother's phone, you don't necessarily get a phone unless you can make the requisite showing. Other than the fact that the phone was used, I don't see any specific information laid out by way of affidavit that would entitle them to the phone or search of the cloud.
Wayne Dennison, your thoughts? Like the phone call didn't come up during his testimony. Is it relevant?
Yes, if the standard is relevance, there's a real question as to how that phone was used that night.
That's right.
And there was certainly questions around the 222 phone calls and the purported butt dials. And we're talking about a call that's literally 1 hour before that.
Right.
Literally, not even an hour, 50 minutes before that.
How about this? How about going and just extracting certain bits of information off your phone? That's not very proactive either. So I'm going to go take my own phone. I'll extract what I think is relevant to the investigation, and then I'll hand that over to the police department. I've never even heard of anything being able to be done like that. Normally, if you're involved in something or they want to extract your phone, they're extracting your full phone. They're not just taking snippets from you and saying, oh yeah, glad that you handed that over to us. Doesn't work that way. But we know Higgy and everybody else gets special treatment.
The notion that the man testified that he was in bed, but he was in fact making phone calls, suggests that there's at least a credibility issue that is reasonable to test him on.
So what's the harm here, Joseph, if the judge does order these records to be released?
Well, I don't think there was any testimony that he was asleep or home at 1:34 in the morning. And it sounds like from the cross-examination that Attorney Jackson had the toll data, meaning the call data from his phone records, because he cross-examined it regarding the 222 call. So it's really a question better posed to him for why he didn't bring up that call at 1:34 in the morning. It's not necessarily a question of harm. It's that the owner of the phone records, the owner of the privacy interest, Brian Higgins, has a right to challenge and contest that. Maybe he'll consent to a defendant motion for his records. I don't know. But again, you have to show relevance beyond the mere fact that the phone was used. We have strong privacy laws in Massachusetts that don't just protect Brian Higgins, they protect defendants and witnesses.
All right, Wayne Dennison, we have like 10 seconds here. Are you bothered by the fact that he destroyed that other phone?
I'm extraordinarily bothered by that fact.
Yeah, and keep in mind too, Brian Higgins was Mr. Proffer. And a proffer in a court refers to an offer made by the defendant to provide information to prosecutors, usually with the understanding that the information given will not be used against them in their own case, often in exchange for potential leniency or other reduced charges. Because he knew he destroyed his fucking phone. He knew he destroyed evidence. Essentially, it's a way for a defendant to cooperate with the government by sharing information about others involved in a crime without exposing himself to a significant legal risk. So keep that in mind. That's a proffer. Lexi Pro, thanks. $10, says Brian. I got sick from staying up late watching Karen Reed stuff. I ended up in the ER. Oh, geez. I had to stop, but now I'm back. Take care, and we'll be here waiting for you. Wow. Well, feel better. Feel better. And thank you for the 10. I appreciate it. All right, let's keep going here.
There is no credible explanation for it, and the one he tried to provide at trial made no sense at all.
All right, Joseph Krowski Jr., Wayne Dennison, sticking by. All right, up next, what is the significance of the Sally Port videos?
Everything.
Reporters believe she's the victim of a police cover-up and frame job. Here's the story.
Karen Reed stood on the steps of the courthouse in Dedham, Massachusetts, and proclaimed her innocence, telling the world she was not guilty and did not murder her boyfriend, Boston police officer John O'Keefe. And as Karen proclaimed her innocence, she also pointed the finger at the people she believed were responsible for the murder, people who she claimed were framing her for taking the life of John O'Keefe. Then, a local blogger and influencer named Turtle Boy picked up the story, believing Karen was framed by dirty cops. Then Turtle Boy's followers started showing up at the courthouse, making allegations of a conspiracy and a cover-up. Things got personal. It divided the community. Then finally, the trial happened. 9 weeks of testimony and evidence meant to clear things up and show the truth to the jury. But in the end, the jury was as divided as the community, and they deadlocked. Now a retrial has been scheduled, and both sides are fighting it out in court as they prepare for round 2 of this.
You get to this really quick. What, if anything? I love that. $5 says, who threw a phone away, even if broken? They usually give you something on a trade-in. That's funny.
Bitter battle.
You have to be there. If you were there at the courthouse, you understand the passion that everyone involved in this has, both inside the courtroom and outside the courthouse. Inside the courtroom, obviously, John O'Keefe, his family, the prosecution team taking this very, very personally, the DA taking this personally, and then the passion of Karen Reed, her family, and her defense team. And then you get to the thousands of people outside and online who are invested in this and believe what they believe, and you cannot, trust me, you cannot change their mind about it. Well, now you're getting ready for the retrial, and both sides are continuing that battle inside the courtroom, pre-trial motions. Second trial is going to be a little different than the first one. You've got a different prosecutor, and there's some evidence that may be a little different as well. So let's focus in now on the so-called Sally Port videos, which loomed large in the first case, especially for the defense. This is really a defense issue and part of their case here. But here, Trooper Buchanan from the Massachusetts State Police on the stand testifying about what they did with Karen Reed's car. Such an important piece of evidence because it's all about that rear tail light. Was it shattered or was it broken by police to frame Karen Reed? Take a listen.
This video captures the vehicle being moved into position to be loaded up onto the flatbed for transport from the scene.
That's the date I was in court with Bukkake. I was in there with Bukkake. The day I sat in court. Yep, I remember his testimony.
If you could play for him. Pause right.
I'm sorry, I didn't get it.
I just asked you to pause right. Sergeant Buchanan, from this still image from this video, what, if anything, of significance do you observe in relation to the vehicle at this time that is being loaded onto the tow truck?
The rear tail light is illuminated. You could see a white light coming from that tail light.
If you could, using that laser pointer you have before you, just direct the jury's attention to the specific area you're talking about.
Right there.
Okay. Just give it a bigger credits through the.
Once we left the residence in Dighton, we proceeded following the tow truck back to the Canton Police Department.
And was there anywhere else that either you or the tow truck went between Dighton and the Canton Police Department?
No, sir.
And when you say we, it's yourself and Trooper Proctor, is that correct?
That's correct.
Now, once you arrived at the Canton Police Department, where did the vehicle go?
The vehicle was unloaded and put into a heated sally port located at the Canton Police Department.
And in reference to the Canton Police Department and putting it in the sally port, why was it that it was taken to that location?
It's a location that serves as a storage for a vehicle that would suffice for the size of the vehicle.
He does kind of look like Popeye, doesn't he? Poop eye.
The location is, as it related to the crime that took place was investigated, was in that town. So we utilized their facility. It was also a heated facility to help melt the snow that had been accumulating on the vehicle.
And Sergeant, as far as the condition of the vehicle as you observe it in this sort of pause still shot of the video, is that a fair and accurate portrayal of the condition as far as the snow or ice or anything you observe on that vehicle when it came into the Sally Port garage?
Yes, it is.
So there you saw at the end the video from the Sally Port at the Canton PD. During the trial, this became another one of those huge moments, which brings us to the next question in our investigation.
All right, before we get to that question, do me a favor, people. Let's smash the like button down there below. It's free to do that. Let's try to get to 500 likes on this video. 1,000 would be great. Let's get to 500. Let's tackle that little milestone first. We got a couple more minutes, I don't know, about 15 minutes or so, and we'll hang out here and finish this. This segment's actually not that bad. I'm hoping to bring in Nick Rocco and Plevin back. I think they do one more time. Yeah, they do towards the end here. All right, let's keep playing through here.
Which is, what is the significance of the Sally Port videos? Why is it important? Why is it important? What story do the videos tell? Joining me, Karen Reed supporter, creator of the Justice for Officer John O'Keefe and Karen Reed.
The Sally Port video has been broken up. It's lost significant amounts of time in the video. Video was inverted. It tells a very clear story of a corrupt police department that is taking part of a cover-up of a murder of a Boston police officer. That's the story that it's telling here, folks.
Facebook page, Nick Rocco, and the creator of the Yellow Cottage Tales YouTube channel, Kevin Lenahan, is with us. This was a big moment. I want to play one of those big parts of the big moment involving these videos before we start talking about it. This is on the cross-examination of the same trooper.
That shows the vehicle coming into the Sally Port, and we're looking at which side of the vehicle.
So that is the driver's side of the vehicle. What that video depicts is a mirror collection. Although mirrors are accurate representation of what you're seeing, it's just inverted. So that is the driver's side of the vehicle. I do not know why it is inverted, but that's the way it was presented, collected and presented from Canton Police.
You see the person toward the back of the vehicle walking toward the opposite side of the SUV?
I do.
What area does he appear to be going to?
He appears to be going towards the rear passenger side of the vehicle, although it does not appear so because the video is inverted, a mirror image. That's where he's going.
And you testified that it was reflective of your observations of what was happening in that Sally Port that evening, correct?
I testified that this is a accurate scene and collection of video evidence from the Sally Port.
And as that truck sits in that Sally Port, just like this, it appears from all perspective that what we're looking at is the passenger side of the car, and that right rear taillight is right there shining in our face, correct? From this perspective.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
From this perspective, from the perspective that the jurors are looking at,
okay.
From all indications, that would appear to be the right side of the truck, the passenger side of the truck, and that taillight that you can see is the right rear taillight from this perspective, correct?
The way it presents itself, yes.
And yesterday, during the entirety of your questioning by Mr. Lau, not once did you mention that this video is actually completely inverted.
I did not know.
It was bizarre. The video was presented inverted by the prosecution without telling anyone that was inverted. That all came out on cross. All right, Nick, what is the significance of these Sally Port videos?
Evidence tampering.
So when you first look at this vehicle, if you don't know it's inverted, you think you're looking at her passenger side taillight, which would have been what the state is saying is broken. So if you actually look at the back of the vehicle, you see a white light on that taillight. And when someone walks by, that white light actually ends up on their jacket, which means that light there it was manually put there, which then leads into Yuri Buchanan's testimony and Adam Lally's questioning saying nobody went near her passenger side taillight. Look at the video. Nobody went near it. We went to the other side, which is a big issue because if you're looking at this and you don't know it's inverted, you would think that they would tell him the truth, which then leads into Mr. Eckerson coming to the Canton PD, which was a meeting arranged by Hank Brennan and Colleen Crowley, which is the Commonwealth's expert. They knew he was coming, and when he gets there from Arizona, they tell him everything's deleted and the hardware is gone too. And there's only one reason why they would do that. And the reason why they did that was because if he had access to look at that video camera, it would show and prove that that video camera does not record invertedly. And then that would be 1,000% concrete evidence that evidence was manipulated by the Commonwealth to try to frame Karen Reed.
Kevin, none of this looks good for prosecution. And we're looking here at the how it was shown in court, and then the corrected version is on the right, and you really get a different idea of what's happening inside the Sally Port. From your perspective, what is the significance of the Sally Port videos?
Absolutely nothing, because it turns out that video cameras, surveillance cameras usually record in the video in the original file inverted, and then it converts it back on playback. So there was some kind of a mistake here where there was some confusion on that. But the important thing people have to remember here is that if you look there, the Sally Port door is open. It closes. So the car pulls into the garage at 5:36. The Sally Port door closes at 12:42. The crime scene is 5 minutes away, 5-minute drive away. And I sent you guys a picture if you have it, but you can see the CERT team, 7-man CERT team, digging at the crime scene, which is about the size of 2 parking spaces. It's a very small area. And they find the main piece under 3 feet of snow, was the testimony, at 5:45. So there was no time for anybody here to somehow fill up a bag of taillight pieces and get there and bury it in those 3 feet of snow, unless everybody at the scene, those 7 people crammed into that spot, those 7 troopers, unless they're all in on it, and unless the Lieutenant Tully and whoever else is there in on it. It's a level of conspiracy that is completely absurd. But the job of the defense is to try to create odd-looking things. So, for instance, the Brian Higgins thing, it's not odd at all. It turns out that he just got rid of his garbage on a military base because he lives on Cape Cod where they don't have town trash pickup. You have to pay for it. He stops at the base, which is on the way to the mainland every day when he's coming back. He's a veteran, so you can buy discounted goods there and throw out a bag of trash.
Oh my God.
There was nothing weird about it. He just threw out his phone, and the only thing that it had on it was contact information. You don't have video or data stored on those things anymore. So it turns out that most of the stuff that the defense, and I know it's their job, is to take the ordinary and make it look really suspicious. But if you wait for the explanation, and they almost have always come in this case, whether it's non-human hairs or gaps in library videos or missing shoes, on and on and on it goes. Everything so far has had an explanation.
All right. I have to cut you off, Kevin. We're out of time, but Nick, I'll give you 10 seconds to respond.
Excuse me.
Just back to the question, which was the Sally port. You look at the inverted video, okay? If that recorded invertedly, the timestamp would not have read the correct way. That means someone manually altered that, so you read the timestamp correctly, but the video was flipped. So when you take an inverted video and you flip it, the timestamp gets inverted as well, not just the video. And it's smoke and mirrors. The Commonwealth's the one that put it into the case, not the defense. Now the defense is just calling them out for it.
All right, Nick Rocco, Kevin Lenahan, always great to have your perspectives. We appreciate it. Still to come. Are these missing videos a problem for prosecutors?
At that 42 minutes, and when the car arrived, Trooper Proctor was doing at the right rear taillight, that is missing.
Objection.
Sustained.
The exact time that would show what the person who you identified on Wednesday as being Trooper Proctor, that video is not there, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
This video, Sergeant, you will agree,
Let's go.
if that 42-minute period existed, that would have been the only video that would establish the actual condition of the taillight the moment the SUV arrived in police custody in that Sally Port, correct?
Objection.
You can ask that differently.
Is there any other video other than this one that would show the exact condition of that taillight as it pulled in to the driveway, to the Sally Port? Or is this the only one?
From that location?
Correct.
That is the video that captures that time frame.
And that's also the video that captures that area of the car, correct? Right rear portion of the car.
Correct.
And that 42 minutes, and when the car arrived until 5:50 in the evening, that portion is missing, correct?
It's not missing, it's just not recorded.
It's not there, Sergeant Buchnick. I'm not splitting words with you, splitting hairs. It's not there. It's gone, correct?
It's not on the screen now.
It's not anywhere, is it?
I do not know.
You're a police officer and you should know these things. Where's the evidence? I do not know. That's pretty scary. That's pretty scary. Where's the evidence? I do not know. It's pretty scary.
So the defense made a big deal about those 42 minutes. Why is there no recording there? Where is that video? Now, more recently, they have sent an expert to the Sally Port to examine the computer, the system, everything else. And the defense expert was told it doesn't exist. All the videos are destroyed after 30 days. The machine's not even here anymore. So nothing is there now. It's all gone. The machine, the 42 minutes, if it even existed, any way to even examine the recordings, examine the machines that did the recordings are all gone. Brings me to
why would the most critical piece of that video, the 43 or 42 minutes, that's probably the most critical, it just goes missing. Okay. I guess that's how it works. I mean, that's really concerning. That's a big problem. That's a huge problem.
The next question, my investigation. Are the missing videos a problem for prosecutors? Joining me, Massachusetts criminal defense attorney, he's a good one, Joseph Krowski Jr. And you remember him very well, trial attorney who served as special trial counsel to Johnny Depp in his defamation case. Wayne Dennison is with us. All right, Joseph, is this a problem for prosecutors? All this stuff is gone?
No, I think it might be a problem for counsel for the defendant. You got to remember the date of alleged offense here is January 29th, 2022. The way discovery works, right, is the Commonwealth reaches out, gets whatever they have in their custody and control, and they copy it and they provide it to counsel for the defendant. So it's not that all of the video is missing. It looks like what the prosecutor had in his or her possession and thought was germane to the case, they turned over. Now, 3 years later, it looks like there's some sort of informal agreement where Alan Jackson wants to fly an expert out to do what we call a forensic extraction. I know, just on experience, if you want to do a forensic extraction, you typically got to get to that DVR within 30 to 60 days. You have to file a motion to preserve. I looked at the dockets from district court and superior court, and I didn't see that done. And why would it be that interesting to the Commonwealth at first? This whole suggestion of conspiracy wasn't even brought up by the defense until a year and a half into the case. At the time, they're dealing with what they thought was a hit and run, drunk driving accident. They preserved the video, copied it to a flash drive, and turned it over. And I'm a little surprised during trial, when the whole issue of it being inverted came up, that the defense didn't right away file a motion to preserve the DVR. So I think it's a little bit too late. So I don't think they're going to get any traction from it whatsoever.
Wayne Dennison, your thoughts about the missing videos, the missing DVR, and the video? Like, we still don't have an answer as to why that video was inverted.
Yeah, I disagree with Joe on this. I think that this will be a big issue at trial. 80% of retrials are convictions because they get, the prosecution gets to, practice their act and come back and do it again. This is one of those areas that is just literally inexplicable. Why is this video?
I just keep saying this too. If you think that Karen Reed's defense team is not going to be more prepared this time around, you got another thing coming for you. Because I even said this last night when I was on Maz's show. I think that we had plenty of those mouth dropping moments, but I think this time around in 2.0, your mouth is going to literally hit the floor and probably stay there from the things that they're going to talk about and the evidence that they're going to bring forth. All right, let's keep
video
playing
inverted. And still the timestamp is appropriate and placed in the right place. And the whole issue around this video has not been explained in a meaningful way. And it's the Commonwealth who chose to put this video into evidence. If they wanted this video in evidence, they ought to preserve that evidence.
Joseph, I'll give you the final word here. I only have about 15 seconds or so. Will the jury... Go ahead. I'll let you finish. Go ahead.
The shock and awe of that unforced error is going to be mitigated on the retrial. That's why prosecutors have an advantage. They're going to prepare for it. I'm sure they're going to come up with an explanation to show that you cannot manually record it in an inverted manner. So I think they're going to deal with it. I don't think we'll have the probative effect that it did in the first trial.
Big thank you. I know you guys are busy. We appreciate your time. Joseph Krowski Jr., Wayne Dennison, we'll see you again really, really soon. Trials need to be fair. Now, even if you believe the defendant is an awful, horrific human who's committed murder, the same rules apply to everyone. In this case, Karen Reed has many more supporters than all accused killers I've ever covered in my career combined. And there seems to be a lot of pushback because of that. But the same rules apply to Karen Reed. Just because she's popular is not a reason to deny her a fair trial. And that's the job.
Well, I kind of take like angst with that. I think that I think that, what the mainstream media does is point out the fact that Karen has a lot of supporters. So it makes her like this rock star status. That is not it at all. It's just that you have a very, very smart group of individuals that get it, that can read the writing on the wall. This is not like a rock star thing, a celebrity thing. These are people that believe in justice, in truth, and understanding the truth and getting to the bottom of the matter of what happened at 34 Fairview that night. I mean, if you're just an intelligent person and can read through these documents and see what's going on here, you'll understand that Karen Reed did not kill John O'Keefe. and nor did John O'Keefe make any contact with Karen Reed's vehicle that night. I mean, that's the obvious. There's so much science and there's so much evidence to back that up. I mean, really, where the investigation needs to be pointed on, and we've been saying this for the better part of 2 years, is that people inside 34th Fairview are the ones that need to be looked at. They're the ones that are hiding evidence. They're the ones that are destroying things. They're the ones that are changing the stories multiple times. They're the ones that are deleting Google searches. They're the ones that are smashing their phones. So to me, that's a bit concerning. Those are the people that I would start looking at immediately in this. So I guess that's probably my final thought in this live. I want to thank everybody for being here today. It was a huge morale booster for me. I've been really fucking down lately and just trying to do the best I can do to get better here and getting my health back. So I really appreciate everybody being here today. And I also want to let everybody know that Mike from the Young Jerks is actually going to be doing a show in about 12 minutes. So I'm going to drop the link here. Go over and invade. Go watch that live. He's going to be going through the Richard Green 227 Google search. I think it's going to be a great show. I'm going to pop in there and watch for a little while and invade. Go over and check it out. I'm excited to see what Mike has to say about the most recent court documents. So thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. If it's your first time over here, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. I'm hoping to get back in the studio soon. I've been over there doing some cleanup and trying to reorganize the room. I just don't really like the way it's been, but it's been an ongoing process and project, and hopefully we can get all that ironed out soon. So thank you all so much for being here. The people that supported via Super Chat, new members that came in, all my moderators, all my subscribers, huge morale booster for me today. I love all of you, and I hope to be back to normal soon. I'm going to try to squeeze in another show here this week. So just keep your eyes out, and I appreciate everybody being here today. All right, I'm going to hit the outro, and I'll see everybody soon. Take care. Peace.